Hello, everyone. Well, we love women over 40 and who are inching towards 40. Getting in shape is so important, ladies. And that's what we are talking today with Natalie. Natalie is a personal trainer. She is unapologetic in the sense of helping women like us, active women like us, getting in shape and kicking our ass over there. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you. Yes, that's exactly what I do. I push people. They always say, I need my ass kicked, I need my butt kicked. And that's exactly what I do, because one of the things that we don't understand and has never really been promoted to women is the idea of lifting heavy. So in our younger years, or maybe even our older years, we say this word toned all the time. Oh, I just want to be toned. I want to be toned. So that's fine. You can go to the gym and pick up those little pink weights when you're 21 and do 15 or 20 or 30 bicep curls. And that will probably tone you up at 20 years old. But at 40 and beyond, that's not enough stimulus. I always tell my ladies, no more pink weights, because pink weights usually weigh like 2, 3, 4, 5 pounds top. I don't know why they're always pink, but they are. So I tell my ladies, no pink weights allowed unless you want to use it to hold the door open or something like that. Because what's happening as we move into our 40s and beyond is that we may not even feel it early on. There might not be any blatant signs, but our hormones, particularly estrogen and progesterone, are on a slow decline. They tend to go all over the place for a little while, which is what we call perimenopause, and then they essentially just flatline after that. And that's literally half of our life with these, possibly if we live long enough, with these totally flatlined hormones. So you can think of estrogen like testosterone. It is our muscle building hormone. So when you're 21 and you go to the gym and you pick up the pink weight and you do a couple of repetitions with it, you go for a little jog, you do some workouts, you can usually keep yourself in pretty good shape. That's because estrogen is doing several things. It's helping you build muscle. It's also helping you store carbohydrates as energy so that your muscles can do the work that you're putting them through. But as estrogen starts to decline, we need to do something to sort of shock the body or put that same stimulus on the body that estrogen once did. And the way we can do that is lift heavy. So what's heavy? So many of my women will say to me, but I'm up to the 25-pound dumbbells. I say, 25-pound dumbbells for what? And they say, deadlifting. I say, well, how many reps do you do? Oh, like 20, 25. Oh, then that's not very heavy now, is it? If you can lift it 20 to 25 times, that's a cakewalk. That's way too easy for you. So, I mean, it's awesome. You can use those 25-pound dumbbells, but it's not enough stimulus on the aging body. So we want to be looking at a rep range of literally 1 to, we don't do that very often, but 1 to 8. So if you can lift something more than 8 times, that's the definition of not heavy enough, okay? Now, it's going to be rather challenging to go into the gym and pick up a 100-pound dumbbell in each hand. To even get it off the rack is a challenge, let alone try to lift it. So my favorite tool for women over 40 is a barbell, because we can load the barbell and load many muscle groups at one time. So we can lift the most weight with a barbell. If you put 200 pounds on a barbell, you can lift it up. It's not that crazy. Well, it's crazy enough, but I see many, many women do it. So, but 100-pound dumbbell in each hand is going to be extremely difficult. But if you load that across your back, that's loading all your entire body. So you're able to lift it and put this kind of stimulus on the body where the body's like, what the heck are we doing here? And so the response from the body is, if she's going to keep doing this to me, if she's going to keep loading me with hundreds of pounds, I'm going to have to adapt to keep up with the stress of the exercise, right? So the body will respond by at least maintaining, maybe building muscle mass, which in textbooks, would say, oh, you don't build muscle mass after 40, but you absolutely can if you do the right type of exercise, which is this heavy barbell lifting.
The other thing, I think, yeah. No. I think that's great. And a lot of women, I take body pump and I see women pounding like 100 pounds over
Yeah.
there. And so that's a misconception to what you're saying, right? The barbell, or so do you want to talk a little bit about how much weight is good enough?
Yeah, so that's interesting because I was actually in the change room talking to a woman the other day who does body pump. She's always changing at the same time as me, and she's going to body pump, and I'm going to the weight room. And so I asked her, well, she asked me actually, oh, wow, how do you get muscles like that? And she said, oh, you must work really hard. And yeah, I do work hard actually. And I've been working hard for many years in the gym, but still, what you're doing in body pump, you can't replicate what you do in the weight room in body pump. And here's why. She said to me, I can squat more than I'm squatting, but in body pump, I have to take that bar and lift it over my head and get it on my back. That's hard. For your little shoulders to lift up a big heavy barbell that your massive leg muscles could lift, it just doesn't add up. So when you go into the weight room, which I understand still in 2023, doesn't look like an environment where, 40, 50-year-old women hang out. And it's true. It's true. There's still a stigma around women just strutting into the weight room with confidence and lifting heavy weights. But if I have a barbell on a rack, then I can just crawl under it, get under it, and start lifting. Whereas in body pump, I have to take that barbell and lift it over my head and stick it on my back. And then I have to lift it off my back again when I'm done. Whereas in the weight room, you have a rack that you're going to load your weights on, take it off, do your squats, and put it back. Now, I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with body pump. I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with any other form of exercise. We need to do the exercise that we enjoy doing, but we also need to incorporate in 2 to 3 days of heavy lifting per week in addition to what we're doing. And in body pump, as you know, I can't even count the amount of repetitions that you do. It's crazy. It would probably kill me because I'm not used to that kind of training. It's 30, 40, 50, 60 squats that you're doing. So that weight is actually not that heavy for you if you can lift it 60 times, because heavy is all relative, right? So I can squat 200 and something pounds. Somebody else might be like, that's so easy, that's so light. But to me, that's heavy. I can only lift 230 pounds once, but I know people who can lift it more than that. So it's not that heavy for them. So it's all relative, which is why it's important to sort of have a training program laid out that progressively challenges you to keep increasing your weight, gaining strength, and just getting stronger.
Okay, so one last question, and this is a quick 10-minute session that we bring on a daily basis, just to give bite-sized information, is that talk to us scientifically, the bone loss, you talked about the estrogen, progesterone, right? And how the bone loss and, that starts happening once the estrogen, progesterone going down. And how does, from a scientific point of view, the weight-bearing exercise help with the bone strength?
Yes, this is critical. Now, the truth is, in a lot of my marketing, I don't talk about bone health, even though weightlifting is the number one way to prevent osteoporosis and just weakening of the bones. But the funny thing is, unfortunately, we don't care about our bones because we can't see them until something happens. We can see the extra fat coming on around our belly. We can see the loose skin where our muscles once were, and that seems to stress us out a lot more, or maybe motivate us more to start lifting heavy. But bone health is a real thing, and we don't want to wait until we have a fracture or something broken to start being concerned about our bones. We should be concerned about our bones literally when we're teenagers, because that's when the matrix starts forming. But again, we're not concerned at that age. Nonetheless, it's never too late. Lifting heavy puts a little bit of stress on the bones. So bones seem like they're hard and solid, but actually there's a little flex in them. But in order for them to get that little flex, you're going to have to put some load on the body to make that happen. So when we lift heavy weights, again, that puts a lot of load onto the bones, and then they therefore have to adapt to the stress of this load. So by they get stronger to keep up with the exercise that you're doing. It is the number one. You can take your calcium, you can do all your other things, you can eat your leafy greens, which is great, but the number one thing for preventing bone loss and keeping bones strong is lifting heavy weights, for sure.
All right. Anything else? Last comments that you want to add? We just do 10 minutes, but I'm happy if you want to talk other type of exercise that women should focus on in addition to what we just talked about.
Sure. I'll just say that there's, so I know when people listen to me, they say, oh, that's all fine and well, but I don't know where to start when it comes to lifting heavy weights. Like, I'm just supposed to walk into the weight room and figure this out on my own. So I've created an online course called H2C, Hesitant to Confident with a Barbell in 4 weeks. There's video tutorials. There's a Facebook group so that you can post videos, which I know everybody hates doing, but then you can get feedback from me. And then you realize that it's actually not that complicated. But of course, to just walk into the weight room on your own is for sure a little intimidating. And we do need some guidance when we start lifting. And there's some other things too that I teach in terms of exercise, because women need to also do, this is a scary word, jump training. So again, some kind of impact to keep those bones strong. And no more of those long drawn out cardio sessions where you're going to get on the Stairmaster and watch, you know, Cake Wars or something on the TV and just go for 45 minutes. Again, that's not enough stimulus. We need these sprint intervals, these high interval training sessions, but not that often, because we've had enough stress in our lives accumulating over all these years. We don't need any more crazy workouts. So I teach that in my programs too, some age appropriate and level appropriate jump training, and also how to incorporate very high intensity short bursts of cardiovascular exercise versus the very long, you know, medium pace cardio. So all those three things are really important.
Thank you so much. I think that's great. I did a high intensity workout last night and my legs are still aching. but to your point, it is very important. And I know my mom, she's 80 years old and she's suffered the bone loss, what we're talking about, because at that time there was no education the way our generation is getting education, right?
Yep, it's never too late, never too late. Like I said, age appropriate and level appropriate exercise, anyone can start moving their body.
Thank you so much for joining me, and thank you everyone for supporting us. We are focused on women who are going through perimenopause, menopause, and beyond. So stay tuned and keep supporting us. Take care of yourself. That's your turn now as a woman. Thank you.